Hello and welcome back to the Girard Realty Show. It's Damian Girard, your host. Still, we've had a great show.
Yeah,
we've had some nice art. Mike Mudry and I
like
had a nice
little
action. Yeah,
a little action. It was more exciting than our regular show, which is a good thing. As I just mentioned a minute ago before the break, we were just talking about the market is starting to pick up a little bit as far as number of listings goes. I mean, we've been at like a 10-year low for inventory, just not much to choose from.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we're back to a balanced market. It's not like it's a buyer's market or seller's market.
No, but there's a noticeable amount of there's an increase of listings that I've noticed in the last 2 weeks.
Exactly, and we're just more every day. We're seeing more things come up, and still a very spotty market. I mean, some parts of town, property comes up and it's got multiple offers. Mm-hmm. Other parts of town are still just kind of lagging behind. I mean, just not. It's like the further away you get from Highway 40 and Lindbergh, the slower it is going to get a sale.
I see a correlation
it's interesting.
There. But what can someone do, Damian, to get their house ready?
Well, it's really important because if you want a premium price, you have to have a premium product.
Uh-huh.
And I think that we all have been in a number of houses, me on the sell side and you on the buy side.
Yeah.
And a clean and updated house is paramount.
I agree.
There are a couple of things. I mean, the Girard Realty Group, we typically don't really advise of putting a bunch of money into a house in order to get it sold because the probability of getting the money back, if it's a dollar for dollar trade, what's the point? It might just take longer. But there are things that you need to do. Number one, you need to clean your house cleaner than it's ever been before.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, if you've started a project, you have to finish it. You can't have half or unfinished things going on, whether it's building a fence or a patio or whatever. If you've started something, you have to finish it.
Yeah.
And then you should do some more cleaning. And at this time of the year, that cleaning piece is not just inside. I mean, you're outside. Now you got the flowers coming up. You got color in the yards.
The patio, the deck.
The patio. All that stuff needs to get, de-winterized and prepared for spring and summer because that's when people are going to be outside, and there's going to be a lot more time that the buyer is going to spend looking around the yard than they do in January.
Definitely,
right?
yeah.
So when we say clean now, we're including the exterior, house and yard, right? A little power washing maybe, something like that. And then you want to repair what's broken.
Yep.
So if something's broken, unless you're planning to just sell your house as is and take a reduced price, which is fine. I mean, if that's your goal, if you don't want to put a bunch of money in and that's what it takes, sell your house at what it's worth today without those repairs. But for the typical home seller, you're going to want to fix what's broken because when a buyer comes in, they're going to have an inspection. The inspection is going to point out those things that are broken, and you're going to have to pay for it anyway.
Right.
So you might as well just do it now. And, of course, after you've cleaned and then you've finished what you've started, and then you've cleaned a little more, and then you've fixed what's broken, the next thing to do would be
declutter your house.
Declutter and clean it again.
Yeah.
Because you want your house to look like the pictures you see in magazines of brand new houses. You just don't want to have people come in and see more of your stuff than they do of your house.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the thing. When we take a new listing, I tell my clients, I said, listen, you're moving. So start moving.
Start packing your stuff anyway.
Get your stuff ready to go because, we're probably going to sell this house in, I don't know, a couple weeks, maybe a couple months at the longest.
Right.
And you're going to have to start doing this stuff anyway. So get it going and maybe, start shedding some things that you don't want to take with you and decluttering that way. So it's just a really important piece for people to know. If you're thinking about getting your house on the market and you want a premium price, you need to have a premium product, and that means clean, fix, clean, repair, clean, finish, and clean.
Now, people are going to be thinking you're saying clean too many times, but Damian, I got to tell you,
can't
clean. We show hundreds of homes, but I've shown homes that are dated. They're frozen in the 70s or 80s or 90s.
Absolutely.
And you would think, oh, my gosh. But they're so sparkling clean.
Right.
They show well. The people fall in love with it. And then they already are imagining what they're going to do to the home and their own remodeling tips. But because it's so clean, they don't get that stale,
it's
just grotesque feeling. they're drawn into the home, and the cleanliness is key.
Exactly. And I think it's even more true if you have a house that's kind of frozen in time. You know, if you haven't really updated your house, but it's super clean, that's going to go a long way. It's going to make the buyer just feel better about it and open up their brain to your house as opposed to your stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
And, and I've heard you say also, because I go to the listing consultations with you, because sometimes they're my buyers and they're selling their home. And they're like, well, should we redo our kitchen? We better put granite in because everybody's looking for granite. Right. Well, and you're like, well, hey, slow down because you're going to pick granite that nobody's probably going to like.
Right.
So don't spend the money. Let them do their own upgrades.
I mean, there's only two reasons to spend money when you're preparing your house for sale. One is to spend $1 so you get $1.50.
Right.
And then the other is to spend $1 just to get it up to your neighbor who might be for sale, who is the same dollars.
To make it saleable.
To make it more. So it's a competitive thing.
Sure.
Not necessarily, I don't call that an improvement. I call that just fixing what's broken, really. So
I agree.
Anyway, it's an important piece. And but I want to also talk about just the importance of pricing in this kind of environment because it is critical. In the old days, I got my first real estate license in 1982, so I'm an old dude. Right. And in those days, you put a house out. There wasn't any information. Nobody knew anything. Nobody knew what you paid.
There was no internet.
There was no. I mean, it was just one piece of paper was all you had. And so you put your house out, and you priced it to maybe get lucky. And if you got lucky in the first couple of weeks, it sold. But if it didn't, it took a few months. You dropped it a few times. Boom, you're going to sell it.
Right. And
probably within 90 days or so. And today it's a whole different animal.
It doesn't work in today's market.
It doesn't work at all because everyone that's going to come to your house knows everything about your house.
Oh, sure.
They know if the tax records are right and what the tax assessor thinks it's worth. They know what you paid for it. They know how much you borrowed. They know it's possible for them to know what sort of improvements you've done. I mean, there's just no mystery to it anymore. So the inefficiencies of the real estate market have significantly been reduced, if not eliminated completely.
Yeah.
And so what it does is it creates a need to first understand the price range in which your house will likely fall. So if your house is worth, if you think it's worth $265, the range that you should be thinking about is $250 to probably $290 or so. You don't want to go over $300.
It's a whole different.
It's a whole different set of buyers, right? So if your house is worth, let's say, $260,000 and you want $280,000, guess what? Don't sell.
You're not going to get it.
You're not going to get it. I mean, unless there's a reason why your house is worth $20,000 more than anything else you can buy. It's a competitive market, and you can't get more for your house than what the market says it's worth.
Right.
I don't set that price. You are selling your house, but you don't set that price.
No, the market does.
The market sets the price. And your decision is whether you want to be in the market or out of the market. Because if you price it too high, it ain't going to sell.
Right.
It just ain't going to happen. If you price it too low, let's just have an auction because we'll get a whole bunch of people to come in and they'll bid it up to the market price.
That's right.
So getting at range, that's a skill that all realtors don't have. Right?
I agree.
I mean, we see houses sometimes that are listed out of the market. That tells me that their agent either doesn't know how to price the house or the seller
is telling them what to do.
And says, well, my house is special and I think I should get more because I'm cool and my house is cool and I love that pink carpet that we put in my daughter's bedroom and those purple walls. It's the greatest greatest shade of purple I've ever seen.
No.
Your house is worth what the market says it's worth. Right. If you can decide whether you want to be in it or be out of it. And then the next thing, and we're running out of time as always, but the next thing is strategy, right? So if you know where that range is, and let's say it's $250 to $275, your strategy is where do you price it in that range in order to get the maximum price? And in a market like this, it may be, counterintuitive, but it might be that your best value, the best return, the highest price is really based on pricing it at the lowest number.
Wait a minute, the lowest?
Price it low, generate multiple offers.
Aha.
Theoretically, those people are going to compete for your house.
Create a little frenzy.
Exactly. And then you are more likely to get a higher price in the acceptable range by pricing it in the low than you are at the high, waiting for somebody to come by and realize the intrinsic value of your house. So
you do it differently, Damian. You really do.
It really, I mean, you have to look at this differently, and that's what the Girard Realty Show is all about, is giving the inside truth about the real estate market to help people with the buying, owning, and selling of real estate in the St. Louis area, and to bring together expert contributors who know what each aspect of that marketplace is and how to maximize your return or minimize your expense or whatever it is. So it's the Girard Realty Show. We're out of time. I appreciate you tuning in today and every Sunday at 3 o'clock, 3 p.m. on the Big 550 KTRS. We've got a great show in store for you next week. We'll see you next Sunday.